Afternoon. We're right on schedule. In jazz time, actually, we're ahead of schedule. It's worth the wait. I'm really excited that not only do we have Kurt Rosenwinkel coming back in, I think it's been about a year, but also this time he wrote his trio. Great players. You're definitely in for something pretty special. Before we roll, of course, phones and everything electronic, please turn them off. Also, if you could avoid whipping out your camera phone and doing the photos or recording it, they would appreciate that. Also, just to let you know that their entire quintet, with, I think it's Aaron Goldberg, forgive me if I'm getting the names wrong, and Mark Turner. That's who it is. The whole quintet's playing down at the Jazz Bakery in Culver City. It's a smoking band, a nice, comfortable venue, and I think they do a student discount on the second show. Am I right? John Mark, you know? Yeah, okay. So they'll give you guys a deal. I'm gonna try to introduce the band without butchering names and root for me. Let's bring them out. On drums, we have Jochen Ruckert. On bass, Joe Martin. And the ever-amazing Kurt Rosenwinkel on guitar.
So, bye. Got that little dose. No questions. Hit the shits, folks. How's it going? My name's Kurt. This is Joe and Jochen. It's nice to be here again. getting to know this place a little better. Been here a few times now. First time I came here was with Scott Kinsey, who was a close friend of mine, and he introduced me to Scott Henderson, who I believe still teaches here, isn't that right? Yeah, he's a great guy. Is he here today? In the building?
No.
That's too bad. Anyway, I'd like to open it up for questions. Let me see, I'll tell you what we played. Let me see, what did we play? That last one is fresh in my memory. The ones before, I don't really know. Yeah, we started Thank You with Along Came Betty, which is a Benny Golson song. Then we played one of my songs called Safe Corners. And then this one was a Miles Davis tune called Milestones. So just like to open it up for questions. So the floor is yours. This is going to be easy. All right, no questions?
Well, what would be like, if you get it as a free day, what would be your practice routine? How do you get into that?
That's a good question. Practice routine. If I have free time and I just want to pick up the axe and play, I go through some warm-up. Warming up basically is the main thing for me initially with practice. So I try to do exercises that warm up my physical coordination, and then when that starts feeling good, then I start to focus on warming up my mental faculty. Maybe I'll, in the beginning, just play through some scales, maybe just G major all the way up and down, and then C major all the way up and down, then F major all the way up and down, and go through the cycle of fifths like that, just to warm up my fingers. And then when I feel warmed up, I'll maybe, instead of going all the way up and down in one scale, and then changing the scale and then going all the way up and down again, I'll go up, and then in my mind I'll change to the next scale and continue in that next scale, and then change it again, and just practice changing it quicker and quicker. And then that kind of warms up my mental faculty, being able to stay on top of what I'm doing, which is also really important. Something that I've learned, one of the most valuable lessons is to be thinking ahead of where you are, having an overview of what's going on, and being able to have a trajectory in what you're playing, so that you can actually lead to something and land on something. And looking ahead and thinking ahead is really important for that. So I practice that. I practice like thinking ahead. And then after that, so there's like the physical warm-up, the mental warm-up, and then when those two things are happening, then I start to feel a kind of like a resonance activation. It's the best way I can put it. It's like the internal resonance with feeling connected with what you're playing is another way to put it, in terms of like having a gravity to the things that I'm playing, So that's more of an abstract kind of thing. For me, it's harder to describe, but it's abstract, but it's very specific at the same time. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Something can be very abstract and be very specific. Like Salvador Dali, for example. It's both abstract and specific. But so anyway, that's what I do. So I use a metronome, and I just kind of go G major. relax. G flat. Back to G. And then I'll try to, like I was saying, like switch scales. So C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C, F, E flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C. You know, like that. Yeah, and then I'll do like scale exercises like in positions, you know. Yeah. So I'll go up and down like that. Another thing I like to do is do like pentatonics, doing the same thing, but instead of the entire scale, just do it with pentatonics. So G would be like, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. And C. And then I pay attention to how I'm feeling. Like if I feel like I'm tensing up, then I'll just relax. While I'm doing. If I feel like I'm tensing up, then I'll try to be aware of that, and then I'll relax. That was a big lesson for me because I started to have pain in my arm a couple of years ago, and I realized that the most probable cause of that was that I was stiff, or tense, when I'm playing, muscle tension being stiff. So I realized that the way to get rid of that is to really, really be aware of the state of tension in your muscles while you're playing. And if they are tense, then then relax them. the pain went away, and it was a great lesson for me musically also, that you don't always have to be digging in so hard, when you play, that you can use the entire range of dynamic range to play, and that has a lot to do with being aware of your state of tension or being relaxed while you play. So focus on that a lot. And then after that, I'll just sort of just do a lot of free playing, or I'll just follow wherever that leads. I like to do a lot of exercises because it gets me in touch with the physical it gets me in touch with how it feels to play the instrument, in every position, and then everything after that, I don't have to worry about that unless there's some harmonic thing that I want to study. But studying the scales and being aware of what the chord scales of those scales are is actually working on harmony as well. So I usually just do like scale exercises and changing scales and practicing, basically the same thing that I said before. And maybe I'll have a very free attitude towards what I'm going to do after I get warmed up. Maybe I'll stumble upon a chord sequence that's interesting, and maybe that'll turn into a song. Or just as likely, I'll find some scale pattern and try to work on that, and then maybe that'll lead to some other thing, and I'll just go with whatever presents itself and try to learn something. So that's what I do.
If I could interject a quick request to the members of the audience, if you would please use one of the two microphones located on either side of the center aisle. We can all hear your question and Mr. Rosenwinkel's response. Thank you.
Do you ever encounter boredom
Boredom?
when you're practicing?
No. No. I mean, if I feel bored, I leave it, But I don't feel bored. There's too little time before we die to be bored. That's how I feel about it, It's like there's not enough time anyway, so sometimes I feel stale. If I haven't been playing for a while, I feel like I have to break through the barrier that has like crusted over fluidity. In the meantime, while I haven't been playing, if I come back and I haven't been playing for a while and I feel like it's stiff and stale, I mean, it's not boredom. It's actually like struggle and crisis, And that's the most difficult thing that I have to get past, because it's when I pick up the guitar and I feel like there's just nothing there, then that's not boredom. It's I feel like I'm out of the water and I have to get back in, which is really difficult, to break through that. It's really challenging. You have to keep yourself there. It's like you can't always be playing something inspired. If you feel like it's crusty, then you just have to stay there, and sometimes it's hard to stay there because it doesn't feel right, because you've been away from it. That's why it doesn't feel right. So you have to just stay there and get back to the place where you were, and that's the most challenging thing for me. but that's only if I haven't been playing for a long time, and that rarely happens anyway. So, but it does sometimes. So,
What do you want to call it boredom?
no, it's not boredom. It's definitely not boredom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
Good, nice to see you. Listen, just for education purpose, how you approach your playing when you're working with a piano player, and you did with a bread model, right? And without piano player, so it's totally different approach. Can you elaborate on these differences when you play
Yeah.
with the piano, without piano,
Sure.
and also what you prefer, with or without?
Yeah, they're definitely different. I love playing with a pianist. I think I probably play less chords when I play with a pianist, and I like being supported. I probably play in a higher register as well when I'm playing with a pianist, and I like that melodic freedom because you know I feel like the first thing that needs to be there is harmonic integrity. You know, that whatever the chord is, that it's sounding in whatever way. You know, not necessarily you have to play the chord when the bar changes, but just so that, from one chord to the next through the progression, that those changes, that you feel them, like that's the first thing for me. And then out of that comes melody. And so when I'm playing with a pianist, I feel that fundamental thing is taken care of by what the pianist is doing. And so I feel much more liberated to play melodically with maybe fewer notes, or not, but I have the freedom to choose, Whereas playing without a pianist, I feel like for the way that I want to hear things, I have to make sure that the harmony is sounding, so I tend to play more in the lower middle register, and then things can come out of that, but not extended things, perhaps, or maybe I play a lot more notes in order to cascade the harmony through a linear line, but that can be more interesting somehow, also guitaristically, to be involved with both the chords and the melody, and one coming out of the other. And so at certain times I prefer that, I prefer the sound of the way that the guitar is able to make the harmony live, So the answer to your second question is that I don't prefer either one or the other in general. I love playing with a pianist. I have Aaron in my band, and I've played with many pianists and love playing with piano. And as a composer, I really love the piano too. So that's another reason why I love piano and have it in my band. Not only the relationship between playing together, but just also what we can do as a band for the songs, So yeah, I like both. Sometimes on my gigs, playing my music, the pianist will lay out, so that I can get into that other thing if I start playing chords. Yeah.
Oh, you go.
At what point in your life did you discover or come to the conclusion that jazz was what you wanted to do? Did you maybe start out playing different styles of music, or at what point did you say jazz is what I want to pursue and want to do as a guitarist?
Huh. That's funny. It's a perfectly simple question, but there was never a point where I realized that jazz is what I want to do. I started out playing rock, and then playing like fusion, and then electric jazz went on there. And me and my brother used to go to some clubs where guys would just be tearing it up, and we would go in there. I was like 16, and we'd like get a Budweiser and like hang out in the back.
I need to rewind this thing.
And just check out really incredible players, really great musicians. And so I guess that's how I started really wanting to, to play that music, because I was just amazed at how these cats could play, And I was also listening to the radio, jazz radio, and my ear was opened by the stuff I was hearing there. They were playing like Late Train and a lot of McCoy and some Sun Ra and experimental music and stuff, and Miles, and some really great music. So I started to get that sound in my ear just from having the radio on before I went to bed. And then, I went to high school with Christian McBride and Joey DeFrancesco, and they were really advanced already, of course, at that age, and they were, and then so I was exposed to that, and at that time, I got a real book, and I was started to try to learn these tunes, and there was a jam session every Monday night at the local club, neighborhood club, and it was a really great place to be, and it was just cooking, and the whole audience the roof would just get blown off that place all the time, and really welcoming spirit there, and a lot of different kinds of people, and a lot of excitement and energy to the place, and they really welcomed me. I would learn like a song a week, or one or two songs out of the real book during the week, and then I would go there on Monday and get up there and play it with them, and they were always really enthusiastic about what I was doing, and because I was just playing by ear and going for it, and so those were really deep experiences for me, and that's when I probably really understood that this was where the most stuff was. This was the most open, the most rooted, the most interesting, the most diverse, the most interactive, the most free, the most challenging, And so I guess it was sort of through all of that I became a jazz musician, I suppose.
Hey, Kurt.
Yo.
You have such a deep harmonic conception, and a lot of people are really interested in that. And I was wondering if you might be willing to maybe play something like a blues that starts out really inside, and then with each chorus kind of gets further harmonically expanded. I don't know if that would be putting you on the spot, but it might be kind of a cool way to sort of show how your harmony is kind of stretched out.
Wow. It's a tall order.
I don't know. That might be hard to do. But maybe there's a better way. I mean, I was just talking to Rick here, as another instructor, and we were both just so impressed by your harmony and that sense of it. And I don't know how you would explain it really, but I know that I'm kind of stealing his question too.
Yeah. Wow. Shit. We could try, but then we'd be trying to do something. See, the problem is I don't really know what I'm doing. You know, I can't really do it if you ask me to do it. I don't know. But we could try. You know, I do feel like playing. You want to play? Yeah.
Alright, so we'll do that stuff we worked on.
Thank
Did that clear anything up?
Thank you.